नमस्कार दोस्तों, कैसे हैं आप सब। उम्मीद करता हूं आप सब सही हैं। तो दोस्तों, बड़ी देर के बाद आज मैं शुरू करने जा रहा हूं अपनी शॉर्ट स्टोरीज की पॉडकास्ट। 1.5 साल होने को जा रहे हैं आपके कमेंट्स पढ़ के, मेरे हॉरर स्टोरीज और सुपरनैचुरल किस्सों को लेकर, और साथ ही में बहुत सारा प्यार मिला आपसे मेरे नेचुरल नरेशन स्टाइल को लेकर। शुक्रिया। कुछ महीने पहले मैंने पूछा था आपसे यहाँ कि क्या मुझे अपनी लिखी हुई स्टोरीज की पॉडकास्ट करनी चाहिए, और रिस्पॉन्स बहुत अच्छा था। तो आज पेश करता हूं मेरा पहला पॉडकास्ट, जिसमें मैं आपको अपनी खुद की लिखी हुई गोस्ट स्टोरीज के किस्से सुना रहा हूं। ये मैंने 10 साल पहले लिखी थी, और ये पिछले साल पब्लिश हुई एक लिटरेरी वेबसाइट पे, जिसका नाम है द चक्कर। ये इंडियन आर्ट्स को प्रमोट करती है। ये हिंदी में नहीं, इंग्लिश में लिखी है। इसको हिंदी में ट्रांसक्राइब करने में बहुत टाइम लगता है मुझे दोस्तों, और फिर कहानी की ओरिजिनल टोन भी शायद कहीं खो जाए। इस कहानी का नाम है नाइट ड्राइव, और ये एक नॉर्थ इंडियन हिल स्टेशन में बेस्ड है। मगर इसकी सेटिंग क्या है वो आप शायद ऑलरेडी जानते हो, अगर आप मेरे वीडियो से वाकिफ हैं। चलिए, तैयार हैं आप? पहाड़ों की कहानी, तो चाय कॉफी बना लीजिए, ब्लैंकेट ओढ़ लीजिए और इजाजत दीजिए। This is part 1 of my ghost story, Night Drive. I hope you like it. ये मैं अपने लैपटॉप से पढ़ता हूँ आपके लिए। Night Drive. माफ कीजिए, कुछ चिड़िया हैं बाहर यहाँ बालकनी में जो थोड़ी शोर कर रहे हैं, बट खैर, let's proceed. Night Drive. Exiting the 19th century stone and wood bungalow that was the last house on Parsonage Road, Mr. and Mrs. Rathod stepped slowly down the stairs to the motorable road and crossed up to where the car was parked. It was May, but there was still a nip in the air, odd for this time of year. The night was almost black, and the few lost stars in the sky above were far apart and sickly pale. Not a bad evening at all, Kapil, said Mrs. Rathod, as she wrapped her shawl around her slight but firm shoulders. Not at all, replied her husband, as he started up his 1987 Ambassador. For 24 years, this Ambassador had been nothing but a model of sophistication and purpose. But over the past 2 evenings, Mr. Rathod had taken her out. It had started coughing upon ignition. Must have it checked by Rawat, Mr. Rathod thought to himself. That Mrs. Mukherjee is quite something, though, continued Mrs. Rathod. Give her a glass of Merlot, and she's tougher to stop than a speeding juggernaut. She laughed as she completed her sentence, and her head tilted backwards. Mrs. Rathod, too, had finished 2 glasses of Merlot, and there was a lilt in her voice. Mr. Rathod gave her a smile as he flipped the switch on the panel. Immediately, the deodar trees ahead stood bleached in the car's ghostly headlights. Shall we? Yes, my love, said Mrs. Rathod, patting her husband's arm. With that, Mr. Rathod steered the old Ambassador down the concrete strip. The couple said goodbye to the row of bungalows and cottages that made up Parsonage Road. It had indeed been a jolly evening. Mrs. Kashyap, wife of a former ambassador to Zurich, had thrown a nice dinner. Aside from the Rathods, she had invited a motley crew of hillside residents and a few of their guests. Mr. Dayal, who ran the town's only antique shop, Mr. and Mrs. Mukherjee from Kolkata, but who summered in the hills, the Matthews from the mission school, Jeet Ramola, the writer, Moira Llewellyn, the Anglo-Indian widow, and her niece from Michigan, Aditi. And of course, Ramesh Nautiyal, the Padma Shri awarded photographer, who had walked in late with a sparkling young thing on his arm. The group had talked politics and education and films and writing, idle chatter mixed with guarded responses, and whiskey and gin-soaked opinions. Now, as the ambassador rounded a corner, its light making a path in the darkness of the night, Mr. Rathod had an idea. He was still enlivened by the drinks and the conversation. He wasn't yet ready for the night to be over. Aisha, shall we take the old chakkar via the graveyard? He was in a bit of a romantic mood, looking lovingly at his beautiful wife. It had been some time since they had done something impulsive. Not that this was a very impulsive thing to do, take a night drive on an old back road in a scenic hill station, but the idea excited Mr. Rathod on this starry evening. Mrs. Rathod didn't look at her husband, but replied with her eyes fixed on the road ahead. The Chakkar? Yes. Remember where we walked during our honeymoons? And when Rahul was in primary school? That one weekend when we took him out of boarding. His right hand rested on the steering wheel as the other reached out to touch his wife's arm. Yes, I remember it well, dear, said Mrs. Rathod. But would it be safe at this hour? Mr. Rathod checked his watch. It's 11:15. Late, I know. But I've heard the road has been paved by the municipal board. There are lampposts at almost every corner now. Okay, couple. Only if you think it is safe. Sure, John, said Mr. Rathod, smiling back at his wife. She looked so pretty, her hair done up in hairpins, wearing her mother's pearls and orchids that he had given her. The couple drove in romantic silence. Mr. Rathod cast affectionate glances at his wife, hummed a Hemant Kumar tune, and his fingers tapped on the steering wheel. Mr. Rathod adored his wife for her simplicity and her ability to put him at ease, even in uncomfortable situations. Mrs. Rathod had been smitten by his good looks, his athletic build, and neatly manicured mustache when she had first seen him at university in Delhi over 20 years ago. They had courted and then married, relocating to Kanpur, where Mr. Rathod's family mills were booming in the late 80s. Even now, each had the ability to surprise or puzzle the other with a touch or a glance or a word, sometimes even a kiss. They reached a junction from where the road diverged. Straight, it carried on down to the main town. On the right, there was the passage to the cantonment headquarters, and off to the left, the Chakkar, dotted with silver oaks and long needled pines, laid waiting for the Rathods to bypass the town and head home to their neck of the hillside. Mr. Rathod turned again to his wife, who grew even prettier with age, and smiled warmly. She returned the smile, cuddled closer to him, and said softly, "Drive safely, my love." Mr. Rathod turned the car left onto the paved road below the old mission school, and it powered its way up the small slope before settling into a comfortable hum on a straighter strip of ribbed concrete. For a kilometer, the road stretched, dark and lonely, and occasionally wounded and twisted through the woods. The concrete was dry and cracked and worn, Mr. Rathod noticed. At a distance, he saw the entrance to the old Protestant graveyard, illuminated by a flickering tube light, and from inside the trees seemed to wave a salute. As they approached a sharp corner under the graveyard, with some of the graveyards nearly 2 centuries old, Mr. Rathod slowed the vehicle. Suddenly, from just ahead of the lamppost in front of the Hawaghar, appeared the frame of an elderly man. Mr. Rathod could swear that nothing had been there just seconds ago. He slammed the brakes, and the ambassador screeched to a halt. Mrs. Rathod let out a yelp and instinctively stretched out a hand to prevent herself from slamming into the dashboard. What the hell? Mr. Rathod's words ceased as he looked from the almost ethereal man in front. Mrs. Rathod was shaken up next to him. Her hair had come undone from its tight bun, and little wisps caught the breeze rushing in from the car's open window, looking like bits of ribbon. "Aisha, are you okay?" Mrs. Rathod replied in the affirmative, one hand to her chest and the other hand on the dashboard. Then the couple looked forward at the figure which had appeared in front of the moving vehicle, seemingly out of nowhere. Standing there, illuminated by the ambassador's headlights, was a small, stocky, gray-haired Caucasian man, wearing brown corduroy pants and a plaid green woolen shirt. His chest heaved, and he wore a distressed look on his face. He raised a hand to the Rathords and opened his mouth. Both Mr. and Mrs. Rathord heard clearly. Please, please help me. The man had an American accent. Mr. Rathord started to get out of the car but felt his wife's grasp on his arm. He stopped himself, rolled down the window, and stuck his head out. What's wrong? He shouted. The man took a few steps to the opposite side, the side of Mrs. Rathord, whose reaction was to slide closer to her husband. As the man approached the window, Mr. Rathord leaned forward. Can we help, sir? The man came close to the car, but not so close as to intrude. He looked at Mrs. Rathord and took a step back. There was healthy gray hair plastered to the sides of his cheeks. His breathing was unusually fast. I need to get home to my wife, he said. My wife, Nora. My car. It broke down a couple kilometers back near the Tibetan market, and I could not get it started again. He paused, ran a hand across his face to clear some sticky hair, and glanced momentarily back at the road behind the vehicle. I walked this far. My house is on the other side of the Mall Road, after the Amity Junction, behind Dalhousie Manor, near the old Hampstead home. Mr. Rathord ran the names the man had taken through his mind rapidly. They were all places he'd either seen or heard of, and were all on the main road which ran through the town. Despite it being so late at night, he didn't think anything unordinary about what the man was saying. Can you please drop me home? The man's panting had slowed. Nora must be so worried, and it's so late. I would be much obliged. He looked at Mr. Rathord and then trained his gaze on Mrs. Rathord, holding her husband's arm, and held it on her pleadingly. Mr. Rathord looked at his wife for a second, then at the Hawa Ghar, and nodded. Yes, of course we can. Get in, sir. He indicated for the man to open the back door. Mrs. Rathord looked at her husband, a look of concern on her face. Kapil? Mr. Rathord knew that look, that tone. It meant, don't do something stupid. Back when they had been young friends, she had given him that look for the first time when they were shopping in Greater Kailash in Delhi, and Mr. Rathord had tried to intervene in a fight between a drunk and a shopkeeper. In later years, he had gotten that look a few more times. The door behind Mr. Rathord opened and the man got in. The ambassador sagged as his heavy frame sat down, and the man held the door handle as he adjusted himself into the car. He had a plastic bag in one hand, scrunched up in thick, knobby fingers. He was sweating profusely, and Mr. Rathord noticed sweat had seeped into the neck of the grey t-shirt he had on under the plaid woolen shirt. The man let go of the door handle and wiped his brow, then began patting down his hair and rubbing his eyes, as if an attempt to make himself more presentable. Then he smiled at Mr. Rathord. It was then that the couple got a whiff of a smell most foul, like rotten garbage. Mrs. Rathord's right hand reached out and her fingers dug into her husband's hand, her arm taut as a stretched bow. Mr. Rathord shifted and looked at his wife. Without saying anything, he put the car into motion with the other hand, steering it around the bend and leaving the Hawa Ghar and the lamppost behind. He drove at a cautious speed, and when he could, he reached over and looked at his wife, stiff as a frozen shadow. तो दोस्तों, ये था पहला हिस्सा मेरा शॉर्ट स्टोरी नाइट ड्राइव. जैसे कि मैंने कहा था, ये मैंने 10 साल पहले लिखी थी और आगे काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग किस्सा है ये. तो ज़रूर जुड़े रहिए मेरे चैनल से. अगले हफ्ते इसी समय मैं दोबारा आपको इस पॉडकास्ट में लाऊंगा और पार्ट 2 ऑफ नाइट ड्राइव मैं आपको सुनाऊंगा. अगर आपको कहानी अच्छी लगी तो ज़रूर लाइक करिए ये वीडियो, और अगर अब तक आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो इंतज़ार किस बात की दोस्तों. बाकी मेरे चैनल से आप जुड़े रहिए, और भी वीडियोस आएंगे अगले हफ्ते में. और ऑफ कोर्स नेक्स्ट संडे नाइट आई विल बी बैक विद पार्ट 2 of Night Drive. Stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy. जय हिंद।